we could switch it over to a team that a little bit more positive light. It's a team that we actually haven't had a segment on, and I've been trying to get it for the last few weeks, but now we're finally going to talk about it. It is the Tennessee Titans, and my takeaway is that they are the clear front runner in the AFC right now, but I think it's clear. So, to start the season, it's pretty ironic. So I've always been a Titans believer. I think, with Tannehill, I've been the biggest believer out of us three, especially, a couple years ago with the run that they had. Even last year, again, Derrick Henry, I think, I'm so glad that they, gave him his own role, because I remember DeMarco started over him, and then they had the whole thing with Dion Lewis.
I remember the entire season.
Yeah, there was
football. Really, I drafted Derrick Henry, and I had to watch Dion Lewis get more carries than.
They literally said that Dion Lewis was going to be their number one back over Derrick Henry, and that made me so mad because, with the Titans, just a lot of stuff, and they've had the 4, 9, and 7 seasons in a row, so they've always been a good team, And it's ironic because I did bet with Shrikar and another friend who's a Titans fan that the Colts would win the division. But I did say the Titans would still make the playoffs. And right now, obviously, it's looking like the opposite way. But look, the last 4 weeks, they have beaten, playoff teams that have looked good, right? The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Rams now. I mean, they're racking up some really impressive. Sorry, the Bills, I forgot. They are racking up some really impressive wins. Yeah, the Colts one was also really good. I mean, this. And
that game was kind of handed to them by a certain individual.
He had two bad series. It's fine. Okay, but and this Titans team, right, from top to bottom, I think and I know the Derrick Henry loss might hurt them in the long term. I think when the game slows down, can you really control the clock, right, in January? But again, Ryan Tannehill, I think, is a phenomenal leader. He's just a winner, man. I think we got to stop, this whole notion that, he can't be in this top 10. He can't lead an offense. Well, he clearly can. And he doesn't have to go out there and throw 400 yards. Not every quarterback has to go out there and throw their way to a victory. I think it's just controlling the clock, pre-snap, right? Line of scrimmage, find ways to keep drives alive. I think that's what makes a quarterback so good, playing to your offensive strengths. And that's what Tannehill has been able to do. And like we've mentioned, right? I know Jack was very high on AJ Brown fantasy wise. I think overall too, I think he's a top 10, wide receiver, still a top 10 talent. So he's been great. Julio, again, in and out of the lineup, but when he's there, you've got that downfield decoy. And then on defense, I think we need to talk about Kevin Byard. And I know, we love to talk about QBs. We love to talk about wide receivers. Those are like the it names, but I love looking at defensive rankings. I love making my own. And Kevin Byard has been the best safety in football. And I don't even think it's particularly close. He's been first team all pro before. People don't even know that. He led the league with 8 picks in 2017. That was one of my favorite seasons from a safety ever. This guy has been phenomenal. Christian Fulton, a guy, he's kind of battling COVID right now, but he, great corner. Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, all these guys that, you just wouldn't hear about, but they contribute to this winning culture that Mike Vrabel has developed. And I think right now they sit 7-2. If you look at their schedule, they still have to play the Texans twice, I believe. They've got, I think the only, games that they could lose are the Pats at home and the Steelers on the road. Everything else is winnable. I mean, yeah, we've got the Saints game that we're going to have to pick in a minute, but this team, I think, is, just well coached, great organization that, in the last 5-6 years, and showing no signs of slowing down yet. So if I'm a team right now, I would fear the Titans long-term in the AFC.
Yeah, I think we've obviously focused a lot on Tannehill. The focus has got to go to the defense. They are what won that Rams game. They made Matthew Stafford look like Dwayne Haskins, look like Sam Darnold, look like Zach Wilson, Davis Mills. They made Matt Stafford look like a bad quarterback on multiple occasions, on multiple series in a row. Jeffrey Simmons had 3 sacks in the first half. Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned Kevin Byard, who's been great. I do agree that as of right now, they should be considered the AFC favorite, but I also don't believe that's saying too much considering what we've seen from some of these other AFC teams. And I know they just beat the Rams, but I think outlook for the rest of the season, I would still consider the Rams to be the better team, mostly because, and I think it took a perfect performance to barely beat the Rams. The defense.
I wouldn't say barely. I think the score, it was 12-point win, but I think the score was a little bit, I
feel like the game was a little bit closer than the final score ended up. But it took the perfect defensive performance. It took Jeffrey Simmons having 3 sacks in the first half. It took Matthew Stafford making just decisions he normally doesn't make.
The offense was pretty pedestrian though.
The Titans offense or the Rams offense?
Titans.
Yeah. So that was what I was going to get to. Ryan Tannehill attempted 1 pass over 15 yards and it was a pick. Yeah. I just don't think
See, so
especially
that
when you mentioned when the game slows down. I don't think the Titans. I don't want to say that quite yet, but yeah, they're 7-2. They've beaten these good teams, but I feel like eventually it's not luck, but they're going to kind of run out of luck. They're good.
I think
It
it's
might
just
catch
like,
up to them.
if we keep, I feel like this is what we've been doing. I think we've been in the last 4 weeks. I think we've been talking about the other team struggling rather than the Titans looking good. Think about it, right?
Yep.
Mahomes, when they shut him out 27-0 in the first half, we were all talking about, damn, what is Mahomes doing wrong? Like, what is this Chiefs offense? Why is it struggling so much? When they beat the Bills, all we talked about was that Josh Allen fourth down and how the Bills defense couldn't stop everyone despite being number one coming into the game. When, obviously the Colts, when they beat the Colts, everyone was talking about why Wentz sold that game, which is true, but they also played really well, right?
That's true.
And
they've played
even
well,
this
but
past week, right, with
seems
the Rams.
it seems like they're more outlasting their opponents than beating them.
I think they beat the Rams. I think they beat the Chiefs.
I do think they beat the Rams, but I think it took almost a perfect performance, especially defensively.
Which is, I think that's why, the AFC, I think is, so here's what I think I'm learning about the AFC. And I think this is a little bit more general. I think they're beating each other up, right?
That's true.
So it's 11 teams that are over 5. That is insane to go into week 9 and have 11 out of 16 teams be over 500, right? It's not even like top heavy. It's just they're beating each other up, right? Like each team has had 2 losses. Sorry, well, yeah, more than 2 losses, and each team has lost at home. I think that's a really key thing too. And they're all kind of facing each other. They're all putting, injuries are kind of piling up in these games, and they're all kind of, and I believe I said this too, right? Like the winner of the AFC will probably be the team that is healthiest.
Yep.
And right. So it's just that's why this conference in particular, and the NFC has kind of switched over. It's been a lot more top heavy. I think it's going to really come down to like these games. I'm really like, that's why the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun this year, because it might not be the best team that represents the AFC or the NFC.
But they will be battle tested for sure.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be fully trained to be able to take on whoever's in the NFC.
No doubt. But I think number one right now should be Tennessee. And it is how it is in the standings, but I think they've shown a lot more than what their record says. I think they've locked up the division already. There's nothing Indy can do that, and again, Jacksonville and Texans are bottom feeders. So I think the Titans they're chilling up there. They're going to get a playoff game at home, and that Tennessee crowd, you guys should be excited. I know Derrick Henry's out, but he could come back. And oh my God, if he comes back, fresh legs, you're giving a guy of his caliber 8 weeks of rest.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my God, I'm nervous. That's why I'm saying, like, because I'm pretty confident he's gonna come back. Like just even thinking about that now, I'm nervous. If
he's a warrior. I feel like he's got to come back. I would agree with you on the takeaway part that they should be considered the top in the AFC right now. Do you consider them the AFC favorites to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl?
I think knowing that Derrick Henry can come back in January, right? I'm actually going to say yes. I think because when you're talking about a guy, again, I didn't even want to mention this in terms of the takeaway, but now I'm thinking about it, right? You're getting a guy like that, fresh legs in January, right? Where everyone's kind of beaten up, and this guy's got 10 weeks to really, kind of rehab, get his, body right, upper body, arms, right, legs. Oh my God. I mean, like I would be terrified. And then also, right, like Julio, honestly, there are some games where if he's just not, 100%, you could just be like, you know what, just don't play him, because they have so many winnable games on their schedule.
Yeah.
You can really wait to have him at full strength. I'm nervous. The Ravens, again, like, I think that would probably be their biggest test, right? Because that's the one team they won't have to play going into the playoffs. Other than that, though, I think, they've really studied each of the teams that they've had to play. They've had to play teams that they're probably going to see in January, and they're going to have them at home, right? Because they did beat the Bills and the Chiefs at home, and everyone's going to say, oh, but you have them at home. They're probably going to get the bye. And
yeah, to be honest, I feel like just with the rest of their schedule, I mean, they play the Texans twice and the Jags once again, right? You're right. I feel like they're going to get the bye. I don't know why. I don't think I can say that if I had to pick a team to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl right now, I would pick them. I feel like I can see them, even if they do get the bye. I feel like if a team like Cincinnati rolls into Tennessee, I feel like they could knock off the Titans. I don't know why.
Wow.
I feel like it's a pretty good matchup. I feel like Baltimore could beat them.
You think Cleveland could go on?
No, I definitely think Cleveland could. I still think I have Cleveland up there among the first couple teams that come to mind when I think of who I think could represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I feel like the Bills would beat them again. I think the Chargers could put up a pretty good fight. It's tough. I really like the Titans. I've been a fan of Tannehill for a long time. I had him as a top 10 quarterback coming into the year.
Yep.
I think their defense is great. We mentioned all those guys, and they're the favorite right now. But I don't know. I feel like I can't agree with you on the fact that if I had to pick a team
right now,
best guess to represent AFC in the Super Bowl, I don't think I could pick Tennessee.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's a lot of. I think that's what a lot of people are saying. I think they're still riding on the kind of the favorites coming into the year, which is fine. Right, we still got 8 weeks to go, but
the Henry news could swing me though. I feel like it could. Which is
all
funny
I'm saying is
like,
watch out for those guys in Nashville because, I'm nervous as a fan of a team that's in that AFC race.
I can't believe they got through this stretch of all of the games that they had to play.
I remember I was saying like the Colts were kind of straggling, and I was like, you know what? Tennessee's got this hard ass schedule. I think they can come back in the division. They surpassed every expectation.
They rattled off every win. I mean, it was amazing. So
4-0 in that stretch. 4-0.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I believe it goes. I believe it goes back to 5-0. If you go, it was at Kansas City. They beat. In random order: Kansas City, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, Buffalo, and there was one more, right?
Yeah, I think we're forgetting the one more that they beat up on. I can pull it up really quick, but yeah, you're right. That's why I'm saying I think 4 is a little bit less than what I had anticipated.
Yeah, I believe because they were 2-2, right? Because they lost. So they lost to the Seahawks and lost
the Jets. They lost to the Jets and they won 5
Cardinals.
straight.
Oh wait.
No. The one that they beat, I believe, was wait, hold on. I'm trying to.
You said they're 7-2 right now, right?
Oh, but it was the Jags. I think it was the Jags.
It was the Jags. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was part of their.
Did you say they're 7-2?
Yeah.
I want to say that's wrong, right? No, they beat the Seahawks. They beat the Seahawks in overtime. Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, I'm just going to take it. The Jets beat the Titans. So does that make them
without AJ Brown and Julio? Don't get ahead of yourself.
Does that make them the best? Oh, but the Jets didn't have Mike White yet, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, like I think 5 of their 7 wins have been against teams that have made the playoffs last year. That's pretty impressive.
It's pretty, yeah. It's amazing. So even if we can't consider them the favorite for the Super Bowl right now, I feel like a little golf clap up to what the Titans have been able to do this year. But speaking of Mike.